In 1386, the small Norman town of Falaise in northern France became the stage for one of the most astonishing and thoroughly documented legal events in medieval history, a complete criminal trial and public execution, not of a human being, but of a pig. According to detailed court records carefully preserved in the regional archives, a sow had viciously attacked and killed a young child. The infant suffered terrible injuries and died as a result of the assault. Instead of simply slaughtering the dangerous animal in private, as we might expect today, the town authorities launched a full, formal legal process that closely mirrored the trials given to human criminals of the time. The sow was officially arrested by town officials, taken into custody, and reportedly held in the local jail alongside human prisoners. On the appointed day of the trial, the pig was dressed in men's clothing, a tunic, breeches, and a simple cloth cap to symbolically elevate it to the same moral and legal standing as a human defendant. The trial was held openly in the public square before a secular judge. Witnesses were carefully summoned and questioned, describing the horrific attack in graphic detail. Evidence was examined, arguments were heard from both sides, and the judge conducted the entire proceeding with complete gravity and strict adherence to the legal customs and codes of 14th century Normandy. After thoughtful deliberation, the pig was found guilty of homicide. The sentence was both harsh and highly ritualistic. The animal was first subjected to mutilation and then hanged publicly. The town's official executioner carried out the punishment in front of a large, attentive crowd that filled the square. Remarkably, town financial records even document the exact cost of the pig's attire and the hangman's fee, underscoring just how seriously this case was treated by local government and society. This was far from a random act of superstition or casual cruelty. In the medieval worldview, profoundly shaped by Christian theology, ancient folk traditions, classical philosophy, and a deep belief in divine cosmic order, animals could be held morally accountable when their actions violently disturbed God's carefully established natural hierarchy. While respected, theologians such as St. Thomas Aquinas argued that beasts lacked reason, free will, and true moral intent. Ordinary villagers, local magistrates, and courts frequently viewed a dangerous or violent animal as a real transgressor that threatened the spiritual harmony of the entire community. Public execution therefore served two essential purposes: delivering visible justice and closure to the grieving family, and ritually purging the offense to restore balance between heaven and earth. The rooster burned alive for laying an egg. In 1474, the prosperous Swiss city of Basel became the scene of an even more unsettling and surreal trial. The accused this time was an ordinary rooster. Its crime was the shocking and unnatural act of laying an egg, something considered biologically impossible and deeply terrifying in the eyes of 15th century people. Medieval superstition, heavily influenced by folklore, bestiaries, and apocryphal religious texts, taught that when a rooster laid an egg, it was clearly under demonic influence or possessed by Satan himself. Such an egg was widely believed to hatch into a basilisk, also called a cockrake, a monstrous hybrid serpent-like creature capable of killing a person instantly with its deadly gaze, poisonous breath, or even a single touch. Fearing that this unnatural event could bring divine wrath, plague, or supernatural disaster upon the entire city, local authorities acted quickly. The rooster was seized and brought before a secular court. It was formally charged with the unnatural crime of laying an egg and suspected of being in league with the devil. The court was composed of both civil magistrates and members of the clergy, vividly illustrating how tightly intertwined law, religion, and fear of the supernatural had become. No defense was offered for the bird. After a relatively brief but serious proceeding, the rooster was found guilty and sentenced to be burned alive at the stake in the public square. The suspicious egg was destroyed alongside it. The execution was carried out openly in front of a gathered crowd of townspeople as a necessary and solemn act of spiritual protection and communal purification. Bulls hanged for rampaging and killing humans. From the 13th to the 16th centuries, powerful large animals such as bulls and oxen were also regularly subjected to formal criminal trials across France, Flanders, various regions of Germany, and the Holy Roman Empire. When a bull escaped its owner's control and gored, trampled, or killed a person, especially a child, farmer, or peasant working in the fields, it was not quietly put down. Instead, the animal was treated as a fully responsible and culpable offender under secular law. The bull would be seized by town or village officials, often placed in heavy chains or locked inside a specially reinforced barn or enclosure that served as temporary prison. Witnesses were called to testify in detail about the exact circumstances of the deadly attack. If the animal was found guilty, it received a formal sentence, most commonly execution by hanging, because physically hanging a massive, heavy, and thrashing bull was extremely difficult and dangerous. The punishment was frequently adapted. The creature might be hoisted with ropes and pulleys, strangled, or killed in a manner designed to imitate human execution as closely as possible. The entire ritual was deliberately public and theatrical. The goal went far beyond the practical removal of a dangerous beast. It was to visibly affirm the rule of law, deter future chaos, and ritually cleanse the community of the moral and spiritual pollution caused by the unnatural. Killing. The famous rat trial, where a lawyer skillfully defended the accused. One of the most intellectually fascinating and extraordinary animal trials took place in 1522 in the small French town of Autun. The entire local population of rats was formally put on trial in an ecclesiastical court for the serious crime of destroying the town's vital barley crops and threatening the food supply of the community. Following strict legal procedure under church law, a court summoner publicly read out a formal summons, giving the rats official notice to appear in court and defend themselves. When, predictably, none of the rats appeared, the judge prepared to issue a default judgment and harsh sentence. At this critical moment, a highly respected and learned jurist named Bartholomew Chassin, who would later become a prominent judge in the Parliament of Dijon, volunteered to serve as the official defense lawyer for the rats. Chassin mounted a clever, rigorous, and entirely serious defense rooted in the complex rules of canon law. First, he argued that the summons had not been properly and adequately delivered to every single rat scattered across the wide diocese. When that objection sparked debate, he presented another powerful procedural point. His clients could not possibly appear safely in court because they faced constant and lethal danger from the town's large population of cats. These sophisticated legal arguments were so effective and logically sound within the framework of the time that the trial was postponed indefinitely. Eventually, the entire case was quietly abandoned. Chassin later recorded and refined these legal strategies in his important scholarly work Concilium Primum 1531, treating the defense with full professional seriousness and academic detail. The case became a landmark example studied in European legal history for centuries afterward. Medieval animal trials open a remarkable and often surprising window into a distant world where the boundaries between humans and animals were far more fluid and blurred than they are in our modern age. Law, religion, superstition, fear of demonic forces, and the profound human desire for moral order and justice were inseparably woven together into a single worldview. Whether a pig was hanged for murder, a rooster burned at the stake for demonic sorcery, a bull executed for rampaging, or rats skillfully defended by one of the finest legal minds of the era. These proceedings were conducted with genuine solemnity, elaborate ritual, and deep spiritual purpose. These extraordinary and often shocking cases force us to look critically at our own modern world with fresh eyes. What practices that we currently accept as normal and necessary, such as large-scale industrial factory farming, widespread cosmetic and pharmaceutical testing on animals, routine mass culling of wildlife, or certain exploitative aspects of the commercial pet and entertainment industries, might people living 500 years in the future view as equally cruel, absurd, morally incomprehensible, or even barbaric? Comment below. What current custom, law, everyday practice, or societal norm do you believe future generations will look back on and find strange, unjust, or downright horrifying? As the Book of Wisdom wisely exhorts all those who judge the earth, diligite justitium qui judicatis terram, love justice, you who judge the earth.